Solo leveling has come to its end. With a spectacular series coming to its close, you might be wondering where you can go to now. Whether it be looking for a new, overpowered main character to fawn over, or giving in to the urge to binge a new power fantasy. Not only does Webtoon have a number of series that could strike the same chord, but today we're taking a deeper look at one of those series. Doombreaker. A cool name with an even cooler story. Now, there are many series that have a similar premise, whether it be traveling back in time, such as Return to Player, Return of the Blossoming Blade, or Infinite Leveling Neuron. Or having a character have a leg up, like Lone Necromancer, or one of my personal favorite series, Omniscient Reader. Or maybe a series that sounds a little more familiar, like Solo Leveling. The idea of the overpowered protagonist, given some random chance to make it big, to fight and protect their life and their new world. Their strength is often a curious question, as we don't know where it comes from. Solo Leveling and a lot of these other series often follow the lonely protagonist. When someone can save the world on their own, but they're kind of ostracized from it. Their power makes them a pillar, and they can't trust anyone else. However, while Doombreaker follows a lot of these same practices, the overpowered protagonist trying to save their world, it actually presents some immediate differences as well. Let me explain. The story follows Zephyr, one of the strongest humans alive. Actually, the only human alive. In this world, humans have lost the war against demons, wiping out most humans except for Zephyr, the last survivor of the human resistance army. That's when he went against the god of destruction and lord of demons, Tartarus. Unfortunately, the fight didn't go the way he wanted to. The last hope of humanity against evil, gone. However, not without blowing off Tartarus' hand. So while humanity lost, they managed to get a dent out of the god of destruction. Now, the major reason this series presents an immediate difference is the reason. Many series, basically most series, have the turning points be shrouded in mystery. The reason they go back, or the reason they have extra knowledge, or the reason of their strength isn't known to us at first. Meanwhile, Doombreaker gives it to us pretty straight, actually right away in episode 1. After Zephyr dies, he meets Mercedes, an elite angel and a messenger of the gods, and she pretty elegantly explains our hero's situation. You're already dead. Normally, you would be sent immediately to the underworld. But, at the insistence of several gods, the 3 supreme gods have decided to send you back in time. Perfect, makes sense. The supreme gods were disappointed to see humanity wiped out and wanted to give the strongest human another chance to save their race. Simple, right? If Webtoon series were simple, I probably wouldn't have a channel. You see, these gods aren't as benevolent as you think. When Zephyr questions this action, asking what the catch is, since during the war the gods abandoned humanity, why would they help them now? Mercedes explains, very well. To answer your question, I will let the gods speak for themselves. We want to see something a little more entertaining. Such a divisive moment right in episode 1. And what's so interesting about this is it defines the factions. Now, since most of the other series don't give us such clear answers, we usually don't know how to feel about these quote-unquote divine interventions. The time traveling, the extra strength, the extra knowledge. Since we don't know how they work, it's more of an ignorance is bliss kind of thing. However, we get it clear here. We know the reason he's getting a second chance, and we know who's giving it to him. Many of the gods want to see him try again. Not because humanity was worth it, but because Zephyr is entertaining. Heck, even Tartarus, the god of destruction, lord of demons, the one that Zephyr manages to harm, wants a do-over. Infuriated with the fact that his perfect streak of destroying 10 worlds and never being injured while doing it has now been broken. The reason I'm going so in-depth about this aspect is twofold. First, it's pretty cool to get a clear answer on why things are going on. But second, I think this could lead to some really interesting storytelling later down the line. When Zephyr starts, or I guess restarts, he tries his best to become as strong as he can be. At first, he's really only looking out for himself, unlocking special skills and perks. He tries to be the strongest he can be because he knows what's lying ahead. So he's on a mission to stop it. Tartarus didn't just come into his world, he was summoned. And his most recent arc is trying to stop the cult of Tartarus from summoning him again. If he isn't summoned, then surely there won't be a fight or a war. Millions of deaths, and the downfall and eventual extinction of humanity won't happen. And while it seems like Zephyr is succeeding in his plan so far, what I wanted to take a look at is what else he's doing. You see, Zephyr wanted to protect the people he cared about, save the world. He wanted to get strong enough to beat Tartarus. At first, Zephyr tries to get as strong as he can, ignoring others to become his best self, preparing for the fight of not only his life, but the entire world's life. At first, he simply uses others to try to get ahead in life. Getting out of loans, out of being a miner, out of slavery, don't ask, it's a long story. Using these adventurers to get chances he never had before. Using this nun/black market dealer, another long story, don't ask. Zephyr really only looks out for his main interests. However, things change with these 3 rookie adventurers. In Zephyr's old life, he barely knew who they were. In fact, he knew about one of them and never heard of the other 2, which led him to think that they've died. He, at first, just planned on using them to get out of a low-paying mining job that he's been so graciously forced into doing. Joining their adventuring team and getting that cash. And after some time and some dungeons, including a giant predator and giant iron spiders which sound horrific, Zephyr realizes that his little ragtag team of adventurers won't be enough for future fights. Probably won't even be enough for fights moving forward. However, he still gives these adventurers a chance to improve. A chance to get strong enough to join his little plan. Even managing to encourage them, saying how they'll join him when they're ready. It's not just these adventurers, but also this guy, Ned, the agent of the Inquisitor. At first, he's presented as almost the villain. He's shown to be on the side of the cult of Tartarus, and he's been given a lot of pretty ominous moments, standing in darkness and basically plotting the demise of Zephyr. However, what I love about stories like this is that we're getting 2 stories in one series. We're getting the previous timeline and the new one. And the differences between the 2 are honestly really interesting. Like I said before, 2 of the adventurers were killed in the previous timeline. And in that previous timeline, Ned succeeds on behalf of the cult of Tartarus. However, this seemingly puts him down an unfortunate path, being abandoned by his previous master, taking a student and teaching him the secret technique of the Dragon King, and that student's being our main character, Zephyr himself. It becomes an interesting relationship, as in the previous timeline, Ned dies because of his loyalty and his pride, and because his old master tricked him into following him. The reason this becomes so interesting is because this line from Zephyr himself. Before, all I cared about was saving myself and the people that mattered to me. That seemed to make the most sense, since the world is so miserable. But at some points, I started to wonder, would things have worked out differently if there had been more people around me who knew how to fight? What if the surviving humans had worked together more? Maybe then, the people I love might have had a chance to live a little longer. We're only given one life. We're only given one shot. No rewinding, no magic, no gods to send us back. One life to live. Now, I'm not saying you should be like Zephyr. Granted, he's super cool. But what his lives have shown us is that people are your best chance of success. That others could lead you into a better life. Even in this series, Zephyr likely has bigger targets than just Tartarus. Even the gods aren't the best people or entities, as they only care for their entertainment. When everyone in the world is against you, you'll need to find people you can rely on. And I think that's pretty cool. But that's all for today. So like always, thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you next week. Take care.